Hey, welcome back. So here's the update on beneficial ownership information reports because it has just been legal whiplash back and forth for about the last week and a half. So, real quick, if you haven't, depending upon what platform you're on, the whole video will be here. It may not be, so if it's not, go to YouTube to see the whole video. Should be short, should be sweet, should be a good update, but that's where everything is. It's on the YouTube channel. From a BOI perspective, if you don't know about the Corporate Transparency Act, you might be the last person who doesn't know about it. Everybody seems to know about it by now. But for more information on what that is and what these BOI reports are, go check out some of my earlier videos. So here's where we are. First of all, right out of the gate, reporting companies are not required to report their BOI information at this time. And they are not subject to liability if they fail to do so while the current court order remains in force. So today, December 30th, 2024, it just kind of a way of backtracking. Back on December 3rd, a district court out of Texas issued a preliminary injunction against the Corporate Transparency Act. What that means is that court believes that the law may be unconstitutional, but they need to go through the litigation to confirm it and really figure out whether it is or is not. But during that time, they said the Corporate Transparency Act is not enforceable, meaning that companies that had to report by January 1, 2025, no longer had to report their beneficial ownership information. So, of course, a couple of days later, the Department of Justice, on behalf of the Department of the Treasury, did appeal. Their position is that the law is constitutional, and on December 23rd, a panel of the appellate court in the Fifth Circuit agreed with them and said, you know what, we think it might be constitutional, and so they were going to eliminate that injunction that the Texas court had given, in a nutshell, saying, nope, companies do have to report, and they extended some timelines. So, for example, January 13th became the new deadline for companies formed before December 3rd of 2024. For companies formed on December 23rd and after, they had an additional 21 days to file their BOI reports. And then there was no extension if companies were formed on January 1, 2025 or going forward, they still had 30 days to file their BOI reports. Well, the Fifth Circuit is made up of multiple panels of judges, and 2 or 3 days later, another panel overruled that first panel and said, nope, we are going to uphold this injunction. We're going to keep this suspension of the Corporate Transparency Act in place. So it's that's, like I said, it kind of feels like whiplash. It's one direction, it's back to the other. It's enforceable, it's not, it is, it isn't. So here's where we are today. So where we stand today, like I said, reporting companies do not have to report their BOI information, and they're not subject to any penalties for not doing so while this current order is in place. Now, you can voluntarily report. You absolutely can do that. You can do that through FinCEN's website. It's free if you do it. If you're on a website that is forcing you to pay for it, you are not on FinCEN's website. So make sure you're on the U.S. Department of Treasury, FinCEN, at that website. If you're going to do your own reporting, if you're going to have your CPA or your lawyer do it, reach out to them. Make sure that you let them know that you want it reported and get that done. Obviously, in that scenario, you're going to pay for it, but if you want to report, that's a way to get that done. But for now, you do not have to report. And like I said, there's no penalties in place. Now, what happens next? Two things. One, at the circuit court level, there is an expedited schedule. So there's some briefs that each side will file, both the plaintiffs and the defendants. But ultimately, it's set for oral hearings in March of 2025, and then the court should make a decision sometime after that. Now, what we may see before that is an appeal to the United States Supreme Court by the Department of Justice on behalf of the Department of the Treasury, appealing that decision by the Fifth Circuit to say, you know, that the order is going to continue to be, or that the law is going to be suspended. They may appeal that to the Supreme Court. So like I said, overview, if you're a reporting company or you were concerned about when the deadlines are, right now there are no deadlines. You don't have to report, although you can, but you definitely want to stay tuned because we could obviously see some sort of change from the Supreme Court or one of these courts, whether it's the district court or the circuit court at some point in the future, which could change that. If they do decide that the CTA is constitutional, and there are other courts that have decided it's constitutional, so we've got a division in how it's being looked at, which is why we do believe it's going to go up to the Supreme Court to kind of make that ultimate decision. But if the courts we're talking about now do decide it's constitutional, I would expect something like we saw from the Fifth Circuit, where they will put a ruling out, give an extension, not a long extension, but probably a short extension to get your BOI reports filed, in which case you'll want to act quickly and proactively to get that done. So hopefully that's helpful. And if you have questions, comments, click on the links below, like, subscribe, share, because everybody needs to know about the Corporate Transparency Act and what they should or shouldn't be doing, at least today. All right, see you later. Bye.